Welcome to this collector's item for any true supporter of Liverpool Football Club. A celebration of FA Cup memories from the 60s to the present day. The players and the moments that have always made this a special competition for the club. His adoring cop christened him Sir Roger, always a gentleman and a superb goalscorer. Roger Hunt was and still is Liverpool Football Club's record league scorer. At Anfield, he developed an incisive attacking partnership with Ian St John, and his haul of 245 league goals between 1959 and 69 stands as a club record. So does his total of 41 in the 61-62 Second Division promotion campaign. Famous for being part of the 1966 World Cup winning side, Hunt scored 18 goals in 34 games for England, including 3 in that celebrated World Cup success. His partnership with Ian St John was a class apart in the English game. If any one player personifies the word loyalty in football, it's Ian Callaghan. He was Liverpool's own marathon man, the club's appearance record holder with 856 senior games spanning almost 2 decades. Liverpool-born Callaghan was the only player to appear for the club in the old Second Division, right through to the first European Cup win in Rome in 1977. From a raiding right winger in his early career under Bill Shankly to a central midfield role as an evergreen performer for Bob Paisley, Ian Callaghan was Mr. Liverpool. Signed by Bill Shankly in the summer of 1961 for a then club record £37,500, Ian St John became an instant hero for Liverpool fans, scoring a hat-trick on his debut against Everton in the Liverpool Senior Cup final. At just 5'7", the Scotsman was surprisingly adept in the air, and his darting all-action style helped him to 118 Liverpool goals. St John was part of the side that won 2 league titles in the mid-60s, and it was he who scored the winner at Wembley in the 1965 Cup final victory over Leeds. Just as famously, Ian St John later went on to become one of the best-known television performers in the country. Tommy Smith, nicknamed the Anfield Iron because of his rugged approach to the game. Tommy was never a boy, he was born a man, said legendary Reds manager Bill Shankly. An uncompromising defender, Smith was a local boy, born within a mile of Anfield, and he joined the youth team at the age of 15 in 1960. Some 27 years later, he scored a goal in the European Cup final in his 600th appearance for the club. He had a fearsome reputation, but his skill and subtlety did not go unrecognised, and he would go on to play for his country. Emlyn Hughes, a man possessed with infectious enthusiasm and an endless drive, prompting fans everywhere to give him the enduring nickname Crazy Horse. Fullback, centre-back, midfielder and Liverpool captain, the first to hold aloft the European Cup after that fantastic 3-1 victory over Borussia Mönchengladbach in 1977. Hughes, who also captained England, was signed as a 19-year-old boy by Bill Shankly from Blackpool in 1967 after just 31 league appearances. Barrow-born Hughes was an inspirational figure for club and country and crowned his energetic displays with some spectacular long-range goals. Had it not been for Peter Shilton, then Ray Clemence would surely have been England's #1 goalkeeper for many, many years. He did play 61 times for England, but that was less than half the total of Shilton, even though many pundits rated the Liverpool man superior. He was one of the great bargain buys of Anfield history, costing Bill Shankly £18,000 from Scunthorpe in June 1967. Clemence succeeded Tommy Lawrence as first choice at Liverpool in 1970 and showed exceptional ability as the last line of defence, combining superb shot-stopping with exceptional agility. In the title-winning side of 1978-79, ever-present Clemence conceded a record low of just 16 goals. He kept an incredible 335 clean sheets in 665 appearances for the Reds. Brian Hall, along with Steve Highway, ushered in an academic first for Liverpool when they appeared together as university graduates in a Liverpool side that faced Mansfield in September 1970. Hall had a Bachelor of Science. It was his first senior start for the club. He stood only 5'6" tall, but made up for his lack of height with a terrific engine and boundless energy. Even now he works at Anfield as the club's public relations manager. Also making his first start for the Reds in that match against Mansfield, a tricky winger with a Bachelor of Arts degree, the name Steve Highway. the image of Highway in full flight has gone down in Anfield folklore. It was his pace and crossing ability which provided the ammunition for Kevin Keegan and John Toshak. He played in one of the most celebrated periods in Liverpool's history, and he can count 5 Championship and 2 European Cup winners' medals to his name. Highway continues to weave his magic as director of the Youth Academy at Anfield, and he's developed and driven on some outstanding talent to prominence. Players such as Steve McManaman, Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen and Steven Gerrard all learnt their trade under a fine role model for all professionals. John Toshak, one half of one of the most famous partnerships ever to grace the English game. Whether scoring himself or knocking the ball down for Kevin Keegan to find the net, Toshak was a colossus. The pair had an almost telepathic understanding on the football field. Strong in the air, the giant Welshman spent 8 years at Anfield after signing from Cardiff City in 1970, winning 3 championship medals and scoring 96 goals, most with his head. His career carried on at the top after he left Merseyside, and he'd go on to become a successful manager at some of the biggest clubs on the continent. Few realise that when Kevin Keegan signed for Shankly's Liverpool at a cost of £35,000 at the end of the 1970-71 season, it would become one of the bargains of all time in the English transfer market. Mighty Mouse, as he was affectionately known, was brought in as a midfielder, but after a few devastating displays in pre-season, he was redeployed as a striker. He then scored on his full debut, and the rest, as they say, is history. Another epoch in Anfield history had begun. Keegan was the darling of the Kop and revered all over the continent. He eventually signed for Hamburg in Germany. He scored a total of 100 goals for Liverpool and went on to become European Footballer of the Year on 2 occasions while playing in the Bundesliga. When he retired, he went on to become one of the most high-profile managers in the game. Having won 7 league titles, 2 European Cups, 2 League Cups, a UEFA Cup and an FA Cup during his playing career, Phil Thompson understands more than most the work ethic and the secret to Liverpool Football Club's ongoing achievements. This confident centre-back made 477 appearances for the Reds, as well as captaining the side to European Cup glory in 1981. Thompson claimed 41 caps for England and went on to work as number 2 at Anfield to Gérard Houllier. Ray Kennedy was signed from Arsenal on the day Bill Shankly resigned. He was originally bought as a striker, but a masterstroke from new manager Bob Paisley saw him develop into one of the most cultured midfielders the English game has seen. His vision and finishing ability combined to make him a force to be reckoned with at the highest level. International recognition followed, and Kennedy entered Liverpool folklore. Sadly, Ray has been cruelly afflicted by Parkinson's disease in later life. The 40,000 fans who turned up at his testimonial at Highbury showed just how he's been loved by all. Terry McDermott, another local lad who came good at Anfield. An England regular, he took midfield performances to another level. Stamina, pace, and a subtle touch, McDermott had it all. A consistent goal scorer, he was signed by Bob Paisley in late 1974 and became a prominent figure in Liverpool's chase for honours. His penetrating runs forward enhanced his reputation, and he soon became an England regular. He scored 81 goals for the Reds, including one in the 1977 European Cup final in Rome. And McDermott went on to coach at the highest level. Mr. Dependable for club and country, Phil Neal made the right-back position his own at Anfield for 9 hugely successful years. No player in Liverpool's history has won more championship medals. Neal collected 7 during 648 games for the club. But the most amazing fact about Neal is that he scored 60 goals from his right-back position. Many were penalties, of course. With over 50 caps for England, Neal is recognised as one of the most complete defenders to have graced the English game. "46 goals in 269 appearances is no mean feat for a midfielder, but that is what Jimmy Case managed at Anfield. Rugged in the tackle and possessing a ferocious shot, Case was the ultimate midfielder. His displays on the right flank of Liverpool's midfield were never second-rate, making him a menace to opposition and an exceptional engine in the Liverpool side. When Kevin Keegan left for Germany, there was only one question on the Kop: who could replace him? Enter Kenny Dalglish. A British record transfer of £440,000 saw Dalglish arrive from Celtic, to become an even bigger star than the England captain. Dalglish went on to become surely the greatest player in Liverpool's illustrious history. He displayed the priceless quality of performing as a brilliant individual within a team structure. King Kenny swiftly became a Kop hero, and his partnership with Ian Rush was one of the finest ever seen in England. Dalglish may have lacked speed, but his coolness and creative vision made him look 10 yards ahead of anyone else on the field. He scored the winner in the 1978 European Cup final, and after 8 brilliant years as a player, he became Liverpool's first player manager. It was an inspired choice. In the space of 5 years, he was voted Manager of the Year 3 times, leading Liverpool to a League and Cup double in 1986 and further championships in 1988 and 90. He was one of the true greats of world football and will always be remembered as the finest player ever to don the jersey of Liverpool Football Club. Why wasn't Alan Hansen capped more than 26 times for Scotland? A question still asked more than 10 years after he retired to move into television. Perfectly comfortable on the ball, a player who could turn defence into attack, Hansen was the complete defender, and his partnership with Mark Lawrenson may never be bettered on Merseyside. Calmness personified. He possessed amazing passing range, and he was revered all over the continent. Jockey Hansen won 8 championships and 3 European Cups at Anfield. He was also captain when they did the double in 1985-86, and he was simply the best defender ever to pull on a red shirt. Graham Souness was at the heart of Liverpool's success in the late 70s and early 80s. Strong in the tackle and born with a never-say-die attitude, coupled with a fine passing range and a ferocious shot, he was all-round the most feared competitor in the English game. His enthusiasm was clear for everyone to see. He wore his heart on his sleeve and would run himself into the ground for Liverpool Football Club. He captained the side to numerous triumphs, both at home and abroad, and eventually took his skills to Serie A in Italy, where he starred for Sampdoria. His honours at Liverpool included 3 European Cup winners' medals and 5 league titles. He also scored 56 goals. Souness would eventually return to manage the club to an FA Cup win in 1992, just weeks after open heart surgery. But even that didn't deter him from continuing his management career. ...346 goals in 658 games. That says it all about Ian Rush, Liverpool's greatest ever goal scorer. The thinly framed Welshman became one of the best ever strikers in British football. A £300,000 cheque made out to Chester City in 1980 made Rush English football's most expensive ever teenager. But he was well worth it. He broke just about every goal-scoring record. 44 FA Cup strikes, 5 goals in FA Cup finals, and 20 European goals. Just some of the amazing records that Rush set. They used to say he was the club's first defender, closing down the opposition in their own half as Liverpool carefully broke down their opponent's resolve. He had 2 spells at Liverpool. He left in 1987 to play for Juventus in Italy. When he returned, it was like he'd never been away. He claimed a total of 5 championship medals, 1 European Cup, and also an MBE. Rush scored a Mersey derby record of 25 goals. and even won Europe's Golden Boot in 1984 when he scored 32 league goals. He was also double Footballer of the Year. On the international scene, he captained Wales and scored a record 28 goals in 73 games. With such an array of achievements, it was surely only a matter of time before Liverpool brought him back as a specialist coach for the modern strikers. Ronnie Whelan, one of the unsung heroes of Liverpool's glory years. It was he who would link defence and attack with great fluidity. He was well known for his scoring ability. He notched up 73 goals in 443 appearances for Liverpool. And in 14 years at Anfield, he won 5 championship medals. He'll forever be remembered for a special goal in the 1983 League Cup final against Manchester United. The young Irishman arrived on Merseyside in 1979, aged just 17, and his spindly frame concerned some at the club, but he more than made up for that with his will to win, and success made him one of the greats. He eventually captained the club. Craig Johnston arrived on Merseyside in early 1981, quickly establishing himself as a favourite with the Anfield fans. Hailing from Australia, he was a quick and busy winger, full of energy and raw talent. In all, he played for Liverpool 268 times, scoring 40 goals along the way, including one in the 1986 FA Cup final, as the Reds went on to clinch the double. Since retiring from the game in the early 90s, Johnson became involved in television work, and he also focused his considerable creative energy in the design of the new improved Predator football boot. Alan Hansen's defensive partner and one of the most talented players in Liverpool's history. Mark Lawrenson, part of possibly the greatest centre-back pairing to grace the English League. His quality was unquestionable, versatile, quick, composed, and blessed with impeccable timing. The superlatives come easily in describing this Republic of Ireland international. His tackling was simply different class, and he became a pivotal figure under the managership of both Bob Paisley and Kenny Dalglish. His career sadly ended because of injury prematurely in 1988, and he went on to work in television and radio. Eccentric to say the least of it. Many Liverpool fans were worried when Bruce Grobbelaar broke into the first team, but their fears proved unfounded. It was a daunting task to take over from Ray Clements as the Reds' number one, but this young Zimbabwean took it in his stride. Few keepers could match his agility. True, sometimes he was a little erratic, but he always came to Liverpool's rescue as their formidable last line of defence. He won 13 major medals at Anfield in 13 hugely successful years, and it was his famous wobbly legs routine in the penalty shootout that helped secure Liverpool the European Cup in 1984. An individual who did more than enough for the team, Bruce Grobbelaar. Steve Nicol, a Scottish defender with an eye for goal. A utility man of great stature, he could play anywhere along the back line, as well as in midfield or attack. He once scored a hat-trick against Newcastle United in 1988. He wore size 14 boots that weren't often wrong in the tackle or the pass. And his efforts were justly rewarded in 1989 when the Football Writers voted him England's Player of the Year. 46 goals from 466 games, a fantastic return from a defender. Add to that 4 titles and 3 FA Cup winners' medals. And all in all, a pretty successful stint at Anfield for Steve Nicol. An outstanding midfielder with exceptional vision, Jan Mulby was one of the many talented players to emerge from the famous Ajax Youth Academy. Joe Fagan brought the Great Dane as a replacement for Graham Souness in the summer of 1984. In the English game, only Glenn Hoddle rivaled his passing. An expert from the penalty spot, Mulby was successful from 40 of 42 spot kicks taken in 11 years at Anfield. He'll most be remembered by Reds fans for his fine display in the FA Cup final of 1986 against Everton, the year Liverpool won the double. He had more than his fair share of injuries to endure, and that held him back at times. But Mulby was always statuesque in the middle of the park, and creativity was his special weapon. Steve McMahon was Kenny Dalglish's first signing as Liverpool manager in September 1985, a former Everton ball boy who graduated through the ranks at Goodison Park to captain the Blues during the early 80s. This was a man's man, strong in the tackle and a passionate leader on the pitch. But the England international was underrated for his subtlety and scope on the ball. He scored 50 goals in 276 appearances for the Reds and won 3 championship medals, the first arriving in his opening season in front of the Kop in 1986. He went on to forge a career in club management. Barry Venison was a Sunderland player soon to be out of contract at the beginning of 1986. By the summer, after writing to every First Division club, notifying them of his situation, he was at Liverpool. He's fondly remembered for his flowing blonde locks and unique dress sense, but his expertise at the back is certainly not forgotten. His Anfield career was littered with injury problems, but he always came in and completed the job required. He was part of 2 championship-winning sides and played in the 1989 FA Cup final victory over Everton. He went on to become a television pundit. Another local lad come good, John Aldridge was a Scouser through and through, and he used to stand on the Kop as a boy. The Liverpool supporters loved him, and he adored them. Aldridge was a goal-scoring machine. 26 goals in his first season in 1987-88, propelling Liverpool toward a glorious championship win when they went 29 games unbeaten from the start of the campaign. There were few strikers as good with their head. Aldo, as he was affectionately known by the Liverpool faithful, retired in 1998, just before his 40th birthday, and in a career spanning 882 appearances and 474 goals, he even overtook Jimmy Greaves as British football's record goal scorer. It's often said that Peter Beardsley never scored tap-ins. True, he had an eye for the spectacular, but his all-round work ethic and unselfishness made him a real player's player for club and country. Beardsley arrived at Anfield in the summer of 1987 and was an instant hit. He formed a fine attacking triangle with John Aldridge and John Barnes as Liverpool went on to clinch the title that year in some style. also the perfect foil for Gary Lineker in the English national team. Peter was a perfect blend of enthusiasm, talent and instinctive finishing, and went on to score 58 goals in 173 games for the club. Beardsley was always a great ambassador for the game of football. More Brazilian than the Brazilians, more Italian than the Italians, John Barnes was the most exciting player in England for many years. Signed by Kenny Dalglish in 1987, he spent 10 fantastic years at Anfield. He made the complicated look simple. He had a cultured left foot, and his name shook fear into opponents. The impact of Barnes earned him the votes of both the football writers and his fellow professionals of the PFA as the 1988 Double Footballer of the Year. He claimed 108 goals in his time at the club and won 79 England caps. You'd expect the unexpected when Digger, as he was known, took control of the ball. He was effective from anywhere. Stand off him and he'd beat you. Stay close and he'd beat you. There was no answer to stopping Barnes in form. Few players have excited the Anfield faithful as much as Barnes. Ray Houghton, an attacking midfielder in the mould of Brian Hall. Busy, efficient and a constant menace to opposing defences with his running from deep. He became a regular on the right side of Liverpool's midfield and was an instant hit with the Kop. Houghton's work rate was exceptional, and he could always be relied upon to give 100%. He scored goals, 38 in 5 seasons, but created many more. A fine advert for the game of football, Ray Houghton gave his all to the cause. A graduate of the now famous Liverpool Youth Academy, Steve McManaman had an almost lazy look about him, but he glided past defenders as if they weren't there. His thin and fragile presence gave the club magic from the wings. His running from deep has gone down in Liverpool folklore, and his commitment was rewarded when late in his Liverpool career he was handed the captaincy. His dribbling skill brought him to the attention of Barcelona, the club he almost joined in 1997. He then became one of the most high-profile stars to take advantage of the Bosman ruling when he signed for Real Madrid in 1999, capping his first season by scoring in their European Cup final triumph. Dean Saunders scored 23 goals in his first season at Anfield, a season culminating in the 1992 FA Cup final victory over Sunderland. He also broke a couple of European goal-scoring records that season and became the first Reds player to score 4 goals in a single match. He claimed 9 European strikes over the course of the whole campaign, another Liverpool record. The Welsh international combined pace with a high skill level and was always in the thick of the action. Mark Wright's cultured displays in the middle of the England defence at the 1990 World Cup brought him to the attention of the then Liverpool manager Graham Souness, and he was snapped up for £2.2 million. He went on to captain Liverpool in their 1992 FA Cup final victory over Sunderland. Niggling injuries and a loss of form in 1993-94 spelt troubled times for the tall centre-back, but his commitment was unrivalled and he fought his way back into the first team. His leadership quality and his ability to set up attacks from deep were perhaps his greatest strengths, and he even managed to notch up some memorable goals. One of the many youngsters to learn their trade under Dario Gradi at Crewe Alexandra, Rob Jones was another shrewd capture for Liverpool. Signed by Souness in 1991, he established himself as the best right-back in England, with a series of energetic and powerful displays down the right, linking brilliantly with Steve McManaman. It was no surprise when he broke into the England squad, and he would surely have won many more caps and honours had it not been for a terrible run of injuries. Sadly, those injuries ended his career prematurely in 1999. Class personified. Jamie Redknapp was always going to be a Liverpool player. His passing, vision and technical ability made him a footballer in the best Anfield tradition. He was never afraid to let fly from distance and scored many goals with his long-range efforts. He made 308 appearances. The figure should have been much larger, but for an unlucky stream of injuries throughout his 11 years on Merseyside. Redknapp was just 17 when he signed, and the £350,000 fee was one of the highest paid for a teenager at that time. He went on to establish himself as a regular in the centre of midfield and held the captaincy. Redknapp eventually moved on to Tottenham Hotspur, but will be remembered as one of the most popular players ever to serve Liverpool. Although signed and lauded by Graham Souness, it wasn't until Roy Evans took charge of Liverpool that David James really began to make his mark. Although a colossus of a man, James was surprisingly agile and could always be relied upon. There were stages when his lapses of concentration got the Reds into trouble, but his massive presence ensured Liverpool still had a fine last line of defence. He went on to play for West Ham United and become a feature in the England squad. And hopefully there will be many more international call-ups for David James. Robbie Fowler, perhaps the most natural finisher ever to pull on a Liverpool jersey. The Toxteth Terror, as he was affectionately known, was a lethal striker who joined the club at the age of 11 and went on to become one of the best-loved players at Anfield. He scored 18 goals in his first season in 1993-94, learning from the master, Ian Rush. The following campaign saw him become Liverpool's first player to get past the 30-goal mark in 6 years. There was constant transfer speculation surrounding Fowler, but he continually pledged his love for the club. Some serious injuries also kept him out of the side for long periods, but he always bounced back. His fantastic left foot and his power in the air meant that he was one of the most lethal finishers in the game. He moved on to Manchester City, but maintained his place in the England squad, and many Kop fans would love to see him back in a Liverpool shirt one day. Stan Collymore, an enigma, a player with talent by the bucketful, but he had an erratic temperament and he was an individual who was difficult to control. He was the club's record signing when Roy Evans brought him from Nottingham Forest for £8.5 million in 1995. He formed a breathtaking partnership with Robbie Fowler in his first season, scoring 17 goals. Collymore had it all: strength, pace, a powerful shot and subtlety on the ball. He could surely have become one of the Liverpool greats. But after just 2 seasons at Anfield, he left for pastures new, leaving Liverpool fans wondering what might have been. An energetic midfielder for Bolton Wanderers, Jason McAteer joined his boyhood heroes in 1995. Whether at full-back or in midfield, he always gave 110% for Liverpool and was adored by the Anfield faithful. He patrolled the length of the pitch when asked to perform at wing-back and formed a devastating partnership with Steve McManaman. McAteer was an outstanding natural athlete who could support the attack and add a goal-scoring touch to the front line. Jamie Carragher worked diligently at his game to become an accomplished fullback. He started out his footballing life as a midfielder, but turned into an established defensive member of the England squad. Whether at right or left back, his versatility ensuring his presence in the Liverpool first team, and he became virtually an ever-present in recent seasons. He's also a firm favourite with the fans, possessed with a never-say-die attitude, endearing him to his teammates. He's captained the side on a few occasions, and he's the sort of character who would hope to play out his whole career on Merseyside. Michael Owen arrived in May 1997 when, as a 17-year-old, he scored on his debut against Wimbledon. He hasn't looked back since. And at just 23, he's England's #1 striker. Owen became an overnight sensation during the 1998 World Cup after a wonder goal against Argentina. The young striker is one of the best this country has ever produced. Speed, awareness, a fine touch and a deft finish make him one of the most feared strikers on the planet. European Footballer of the Year in 2001, he has become the country's most precious talent. A brace of goals in the 2001 FA Cup final ensured him a place among the legends of Liverpool, threatening Ian Rush as Liverpool's top scorer in European competition. But watch out, there's so much more to come from England and Liverpool's talisman. Danny Murphy. A workmanlike midfielder with an artisan's touch. He's come to prominence over the past couple of seasons. He arrived from Crewe Alexandra in 1997, a local lad with much promise, and now starting to fulfill all his potential. Creative in the pass, strong in the tackle, and a scorer of impressive goals, Murphy went on to become an England international, and it was only a foot injury that kept him out of England's World Cup squad in 2002. He'll always run himself into the ground for the cause, for both club and country. Steven Gerrard has everything you need in a modern-day footballer, an almost freakish amount of energy, combined with supreme vision and a ferocious shot and tackle, making him an ever-present for club and country, one of the brightest talents in the world game. He's made incredible progress in a short time. He failed to make the World Cup in 2002 because of injury, and his presence was sorely missed by England. But the summer rest undoubtedly helped him ensure a long run in the Liverpool first team the following season, a run that wouldn't have seemed possible last term because of sustained injury problems. In 2001, he was voted PFA Young Player of the Year, and if he can stay fit, then no doubt Gerrard will captain club and country to many accolades. This young player has an excellent future ahead at the very top of the world game. Sander Westerveld became the most expensive goalkeeper in English football history when signing for the Reds for £4 million in the pre-season of 1999. He was England's best keeper during that season, keeping the most number of clean sheets in the Premier League. But it was during the next year that Westerveld really came to prominence, as Liverpool conquered all before them, securing a unique cup treble, FA, Worthington and UEFA Cups. The big Dutchman became a hero in the penalty shootout in the League Cup final against Birmingham City. But how quickly fortunes can change in football. He became surplus to requirements late in 2001 when Liverpool signed Jerzy Dudek and Chris Kirkland. Westerveld's option was to complete a move to Spanish club Real Sociedad. Sami Hyypiä has turned out to be one of Liverpool's shrewdest buys of the last 20 years. He was signed from Dutch club Willem II in the summer of 1999. It seems Liverpool have at last found someone to rival the influence of Alan Hansen. The Finnish international is composed on the ball, strong and alert, and became the Reds' defensive linchpin. He's club captain, and his leadership is invaluable to the Liverpool cause. Hyypiä's defensive partner at Anfield has been the Swiss international Stefan Anschauh, another valued member of the Liverpool backline. He was brought in from Blackburn Rovers for a bargain price of just £3.5 million. Majestic in the air and an uncompromising man marker, Anschauh has become a vital member of the much improved Liverpool rearguard. If you need a man to do a job in front of the back four, look no further than the German international Dietmar Hamann. He holds the ball up well and attacks with the velocity of a striker. Hamann was Liverpool's Player of the Year in 2001-2002, and that's the level he's maintained. Tall and good in the air, Hamann has the air of invincibility about him. Certainly, many forwards would testify to that. Emil Heskey became Liverpool's record signing when he joined the club revolution for £11 million in March 2000. Bruno, as he's affectionately known, is as strong as an ox and quick with it. A partner for Michael Owen for club and country. Many overlook that Heskey is still relatively young and still improving his game. But right now, he's one of the brightest talents in the country. Many of the plaudits for Liverpool's treble-winning season of 2001 must go to Gary McAllister, an inspiration to those around him. Although 36 years of age when he signed in the pre-season in 2000, his intelligent midfield play and his ability to get forward to score goals proved a vital extra ingredient at Anfield. An elder statesman with a wealth of experience, McAllister was the spur to younger members in the squad. It's no surprise that he looks set for a long and successful career as a manager. So a lineup of talent to grace the FA Cup or any other competition. Men who have helped create the legend of Liverpool. We hope you've enjoyed it. From us all, goodbye for now.